Unavailable. Unknown.
Hi everybody, it's Sam again. I am doing a video to talk about the email list that I am owner of and give you guys some updates on that. So Blind Mental Health is going very well. We have about 29 people on right now, and we'd love to have more. It's really taking off. So many of the Yahoo groups for mental health support aren't very active, so it's really nice to have this group, and everyone on is so nice, and I like it a lot. I wanted to just give a couple updates. One is that when somebody subscribes to the group, if you could just put in the subscription email that you would send to blind-mental-health, all one word, -subscribe at yahoogroups.com. If you could put in that email your name and a general location if you want. Most importantly, put in why you'd like to join the group, and it could be anything, just like, I have depression, I'm trying to deal with like childhood trauma or whatever, just so I know what it is that you're sort of dealing with. It's to screen out people that might not be a good fit for the group. I've had a couple examples of people wanting to join the group for chat, just general chat reasons, or to do research, and that's really not what this group is for. Just to give you an idea of what we have been discussing on the group so far, a lot of the people on the group are blind. You don't need to be blind to join, but you need to be open to people with disabilities, and that are blind, and have an open mind about that, and have an open mind about, things that go on in the group and that are discussed, and not be judgmental and be respectful of people. So yeah, we're discussing like people are dealing with like depression and other mood disorders, like bipolar, childhood trauma, recovering from addictions, having to deal with chronic pain and illness, having to deal with losing a loved one. We have several people on there that identify as multiple and that have dissociative identity disorder, and I know that there are a lot of people on YouTube that have that and might need the support. So we're definitely there, and those of us that don't have DID are very accepting of those that do, especially myself. And yeah, so that's basically an overview of what we're talking about. Like I said, it's a really great community and very, very supportive. So just one other thing that I might add is that, my rules are basically to, introduce yourself pretty much as soon as you feel comfortable. That would be very good, so we know who's here and we start to talk, and interact with the new people. And also, if you are writing a message that might trigger other people, so like talking about, suicidal thoughts or suicide or, self-injury or addictions, any topic that you think would trigger you or another person, like if you saw it and you were in not a good place, to please put a trigger warning and then put some space between that and your actual message so that people don't accidentally read it if they're not in a good place. And that doesn't mean that they'll never read the message. It just means, say if someone's having a really hard time with their, drinking issues and, trying to stay sober, it wouldn't be a good time for them to hear about, like, the party you went to last night and got drunk at, or just even maybe to hear about somebody else's struggles with the same issue. They might not be in a place where they can be supportive of that because they're dealing with their own thing. And it's up to every person sort of what they can handle and to be responsible for, themselves and their safety. And they can, of course, ask for help, but, the trigger warning is there to give people a choice about what they read. The other thing I wanted to point out is that, so one reason why somebody might be screened out of the group, like I said before, is if they say they're joining for, like, research or just to chat, because there are so many other places that you could get that, and I'd be happy to direct anybody, if they're joining for a reason that's not a fit for our group, I'd be happy to direct them to another place, where they could get whatever they need from there. But another reason why somebody might be asked to leave the group or something like that is if they're just really having a difficult time and are being disruptive to the group, and multiple warnings, haven't done anything, or we've tried to talk to them and every time you talk to them they just don't, they can't really own their behavior at all. They just are not in a place where they can hear any kind of feedback about themselves. And it could be, we've had 2 cases of this where both people were sort of, just couldn't take responsibility for anything that was going on between them and other people. And in one case, it was somebody that was, talking about hurting themselves all the time, talking about their eating disorder, just, and everything seemed to be spinning out of control for them. And yet they said they had a therapist and they had all this support, but they weren't using it, and they were blaming other people. They said they felt, so unsupported, and yet they weren't really supporting other people. And, things like that, where if it just goes on, and it's going to be just this big drama that's going to spin out of control. And, it's not healthy for either that person or the group. And I had to basically say to both these cases, I'm sorry, this group is just, it might not be the right place for you. I would be happy to talk to you when you have more support in your life and when you are able to at least start to look at, your effect on other people. And I'm not expecting everyone to be perfect. Certainly I'm not. And I've had people tell me things that I've gotten defensive at, but at least for somebody to show, an effort and to realize that, maybe what they're doing is being disruptive, and maybe, taking a step back and being able to look at what's going on. But, everyone's at their own place, and everyone's recovery is at their own pace. And, some people just aren't at that stage yet, and nobody can force anybody to change. And it's just, you kind of have to let go and say, okay, maybe this person will come back when they're in a place where they can, participate in a way that's okay for the group and healthy to themselves and stuff like that. And if they can't, then unfortunately they have to find other support or decide that they want to work on those issues. But like I said, that's done after, talking to them and trying to work it out and doing a bunch of things to try to make it work. And if it just doesn't work, then, just be as nice as possible and trying to say, maybe come back another time. And certainly if they do write me, and if anybody who has been screened out for that reason writes me and says, I am doing better, I apologize, I'm sorry, and this is what's going on with me now, and I have more support, but I'd like to be in the group, then we'll consider it, and I'd be happy to try again. But I have to, as a list owner, I have to keep the group safe and keep other people safe, because for somebody to be just sort of spinning out of control and not getting any kind of help and hurting other people, and that's not healthy for them just as much as it's not healthy for anybody else in the group. And I want to keep the list safe and drama-free and just a good supportive place. So those are my guidelines, and I think that they're pretty reasonable. And like I said, we've been going since the end of May, and we haven't had very much issues. And if we have had issues, they've been very quickly resolved. So I'm really optimistic about it. I really want to get as many people as possible that want to join the group, because I think it's a really good place. So if you are having a hard time with whatever, just feel free to subscribe. Information will be in the description on how to subscribe, and then we'll take it from there. All right? Thanks so much, guys. Have a good day. Bye.
My movie. Webcam. Stop button. Stop.